Hello YouTube and welcome to another vlog. This isn't really a moto vlog or a VR vlog or a karting vlog or anything else. This is just a vlog, right? I'm coming at you right now from my house on my couch, filming with my Canon EOS M100 using the almighty Sigma 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8 sports lens. It makes a little noise that you might hear throughout this video. Kirk, 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 kirk. But hey, you're just going to have to deal with it. You're also going to have to deal with the terrible sound quality of me shouting at the camera. But hey, let's get started. I was going to talk about trail braking. I was going to talk about motorcycle techniques. But to be honest, it's late. And I've been drinking beer since about 12 hours ago. And I just am too drunk. Hello, kitty. I'm just too drunk to talk about it. So what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about the philosophy of riding a little bit, guys. Okay? How does it feel to ride in various situations and what you should do? Now, the biggest thing I've seen riders do, and the biggest two problems I see riders have, okay? The first problem I see riders have is one, a loss of traction, and two, the inability to maintain their line. Okay, so what do we do? What causes these two things, and what can we do about it? How can we become more confident riders who are able to have fun and safe motorcycling adventures in the twisty roads? So first off, what is a twisty road, right? A twisty road is typically a two-lane or one-lane road where there's a lot of, corners. You go left, you go right, you go up, you go down, you go all over the freaking place. If you watch my videos, you'll see tons of twisty roads. These are the roads I love to ride. And I'm able to ride these roads because I have a certain set of skills and a certain set of techniques, sure, but what I have most importantly is a certain mindset, a mindset that keeps me safe, and a mindset that allows me to have fun. So the first thing you got to know is rule number one. Okay, rule number one. If the thing you are not most worried about when you're on a twisty road is something unexpected happening, then you're riding up above your head, okay? Now what is something unexpected happening, right? That would be, say, a tree falling right in front of you. Not a fallen tree, but a tree literally falling right in front of you. That would be something unexpected happening. Another unexpected thing that would happen would be, say, a car crossing completely over into your lane out of nowhere and forcing you to, say, ride off the road or do something crazy to avoid a head-on collision. That would be something unexpected. But the most likely unexpected thing to happen is animals, like deer, caribou, moose, whatever, running across the road in front of you out of nowhere. So if those things aren't the number one things on your mind, the number one things that you're scared about, then you're riding over your head. Now, you're going to come and tell me, hey, Sterling Moto, wait a minute, what about gravel on the road? What about trees that are falling on the road? What about cars that are going too fast? What about people pulling out in front of me? What about this, that, and the other? Well, I'm going to tell you, all that other crap is stuff that you should be able to deal with. Okay? So let's talk about a few of these things and get techniques. So the big thing that I see a lot of riders have problems with is traction issues due to gravel on the road. That is a huge issue that I've seen so many riders have problems with. So there's a few things you have to understand about gravel on the road, and there's a few ways to deal with it. Now, the first thing you have to understand about gravel on the road is that 99 times out of 100, that gravel is going to be in the middle of the lane. So let's say your lane can be divided into three positions. Take your side of the road, your half of the road, and divide it into thirds. So the right third between the shoulder of the road and 1/3 of the way between the shoulder of the road and your end of the lane, that's position one. Between then and then the other third of the road, that's position 2. And then between that third and the center of the road, that's position 3. So the thing you have to understand is that gravel is almost always going to be in lane position number 2, in the middle of the road. So what does that mean for us? Well, that means we can almost always avoid the gravel simply by staying within lane position 1 or lane position 3. So that's something you always have to keep in mind. If you ride in a way that keeps yourself within lane position 1 or lane position 3, you're basically going to avoid gravel all the time. Now, you're going to tell me, and you're going to be right, that only riding in lane position 1 or lane position 3 isn't fun because you're cutting off the amount of road you have by 2/3, right? If you're only in lane position 3, you're only using 1/3 of your lane. And that's just no fun, right? So what you want to do, right, in say a right-hand corner is, you want to enter the right-hand corner from lane position 3, cross over the lane position 1 and apex the corner in lane position 1, and then cross back out over the lane position 3. And that's all well and good. And I totally understand that, and that's something I do all the time. The fact of the matter is, you need to go slow enough, though, that if something were to happen and you were to see that gravel, that you're able to just stay in lane position 3 throughout the entire corner. You also need to have the wherewithal, you also need to have the state of mind and the presence of mind, and you also need to have bike control so that you can cross, say, from lane position 3 over the lane position 2 or lane position 1 if the gravel happens to be, say, in lane position 3. And the same goes for left-hand turns. If you're starting in lane position 1 for a left-hand turn, you need to be able to use any lane position you want depending on the gravel. So that's all well and good, but what about if you make a mistake and you run straight into the gravel while you're leaned over? What do you do? What do you do if you hit gravel while you're leaned over? Well, the answer is nothing. You let the bike correct itself, okay? Now that's a hard thing to say, right? So what's going to happen is, say you're making a right-hand turn in lane position 1, and then you start to go a little wide and you go into lane position 2. And in lane position 2, there's a big patch of gravel. The bike's going to start to slide out from under you. Well, that's all well and good, and that's a very scary situation. It's not all well and good. I'm saying the wrong thing here. What you need to do, though, is let the bike slide. Let the steering kind of counter steer and kind of let the front end tuck a little bit and let the bike slide across lane position 2 over into lane position 3. If you start to react and you start to try to correct the bike and do this, that, and the other and try to sit it up or lean it over more or do this, that, and the other, your chances of crashing are so bloody high. So that's something that can only really be learned, in my opinion, by actually riding off-road and by leaning a bike over and then having it slide out from under you a little bit and realizing that bikes can slide. The slippiness and the slidiness, that is something a bike can handle, and it's something that the bike is going to do just fine with as long as you, as a rider, don't get in the way. So this is something that's very difficult. I wish there was an easy way to train for this, right? I wish I could go into a parking lot and train for slippiness and slidiness in a way that's not going to cause you to fall. But really, the only thing you can do is get out there in the dirt and experience it for yourself, or get out there, on these gravel roads and experience it for yourself, or get out there, in the roads that are paved and ride over gravel. Man, it's tough, right? It's really tough. How can you not react when the bike is sliding out from under you? Well, the key to this is two things. What you can do to be proactive is two main things. The first thing is to use your vision. So you want to use your vision in such a way that you know when the gravel's coming before you hit it, okay? That way, you're able to, say, stand the bike up a little bit, or you're able to, in a sense, brace for the slide. Now, what do I mean by brace for the slide? That's something that's very dangerous. I don't mean tense up and grip the bars really tight. What I mean by brace for the slide is apply proper body positioning. This is something you should be doing all the time. You should be using your lower body to stabilize the motorcycle, and you should be riding with a very light touch on the bars. The fact of the matter is, though, is that a lot of riders just don't do that, and because of, various reasons, they put a lot of pressure on the bars. Well, the thing is, if you see the gravel coming, the best thing you can do is get light on those bars and let the bars do what they want to do and let the bike correct itself, okay? So that's what you can get out there in a parking lot and do. You can get out there in the parking lot and practice emergency braking, swerving, low-speed maneuvers, all kinds of stuff. And when you're doing this, keep in mind that you need to keep your lower body engaged with the motorcycle and your upper body disconnected as much as possible from the motorcycle. Okay, now that's a hard thing to do. It's not something that comes naturally. You'd think that having a really tight grip on the bars and really controlling the motorcycle and manhandling that's the way to go. That's not the way to go. You want to use your lower body, especially your knees and your core, to engage the motorcycle. Okay? So that's the best advice I can give. You're going to lose traction every now and again, but if you're using your lower body to engage the motorcycle, and if you have a light touch on those bars, that loss of traction is going to basically be no harm, no foul. Alright, guys? So let's keep that in mind. The next thing that people have a problem with is running wide in the corners. Now this one I wish I could give great advice on, but honestly my best advice is to learn how to trail brake. And I don't think sitting here on my couch is the best place to teach you how to trail brake. I tried to do it with a couple other videos. The first one I made, I was going over all these specific techniques. I was talking about how you can progressively squeeze onto the brakes and then progressively loosen your grip onto the brakes, and that's all well and good. That's what you need to do. And you know what? I'll give you a couple techniques. The first one is get your bike on, say, your driveway. Roll your bike out into the driveway, the bike you ride, your bike. Get it up into neutral and start pushing it forward, okay? Start pushing your bike forward. Put your right hand onto the brakes as you normally would. If you like braking with your whole hand, that's fine. If you like braking like me with 2 fingers, that's fine. If you like braking with 1 finger, that's fine. If you like braking with 3 fingers, whatever. Put your hand onto the brakes like you normally would, and now gently squeeze the brakes until the bike starts to offer resistance. Okay, don't have the brakes stop the bike, but have the brakes just be applied enough to offer a little resistance. That's all you're going to do. You're going to gently and slowly apply the brakes until the brakes resist the forward motion a little bit. And you're going to release the brakes nice and slowly in the same manner, and then you're going to do it again. Apply, release, apply, release. Nice and slow, nice and gently. You're going to do that like 100 times. That's what I did. And you're going to do this until you're completely comfortable with that feeling. Alright? Next, you're going to apply the brakes a little harder. You're going to apply the brakes until it actually stops the bike while you're walking it forward. But you're going to do it in a nice, gentle way. You're not going to jerk the bike to a stop. You're just going to squeeze the brakes nice and gently until the bike comes to a stop. It might take you half a second. It might take you a second. And you're going to do this again and again until you can gently bring the bike to a stop in a nice, smooth, controlled manner, but also quickly. That's going to give you the feeling for the amount of brake pressure you should be applying when you trail brake, okay? You want to be applying just enough pressure on those brakes as you're turning to slow the bike in a nice, controlled manner. So what you're going to do with this technique is brake nice and hard, straight up and down, and you're going to get your speed mostly set. Now that's a hard concept, and this is why I don't want to talk about technique too much. You're going to get your speed mostly set while you're straight up and down. Then you're going to start to trail off the brakes, and then as you're trailing off the brakes, you're going to continue to trail off the brakes and apply steering angle. And you're going to continue to apply steering angle and trail off the brakes until you have your speed and your direction both set. So basically, you're going to trail off the brakes until your velocity is set. This is a very difficult concept, and it's one that I would really recommend that you, A, practice in a parking lot, and B, you practice with someone who can give you feedback. Because this is something you want to do in a very smooth and controlled manner. Learning how to trail brake in an oh crap situation isn't going to work. You're going to snatch the brakes too hard. You're going to be applying too much front brake. You're going to tuck the front and you're going to slide on your ass, and you're going to come to me and tell me that you almost died or that you got injured or whatever because trail braking doesn't work. Well, the fact of the matter is trail braking works when it's used correctly. But using it correctly takes real concentration, real skill, and real practice. Okay, guys? So that's kind of a Debbie Downer, isn't it? What do you do if you can't trail brake? Well, a lot of guys would say set your speed in a straight line, turn the bike in, and then accelerate through the corner. And that has merits. The problem is accelerating through the corner when you don't know what's coming through the corner is really, really dangerous. So I would almost suggest kind of splitting the difference. Now this is terrible. This is going to get me in trouble if anyone really sees this, saying split the difference. Set your speed, turn the bike in, coast through the corner, and then, when you can see the exit, start rolling on the throttle to decrease or to increase your radius and go to the outside. Oh, it's so terrible, guys. It's so terrible. You really want to do push or look, look, press, and roll, or whatever. You want to do that until you can trail brake, I guess. I don't know. It's such a hard thing to say. Because when you're on the twisty roads, that stuff just doesn't work. It's dangerous. And I think using engine braking as a form of trail braking is so much safer than trying to accelerate through a corner you don't know. My God. Anyway, so what about the philosophy of riding a little bit? Isn't that what we were going to talk about? Philosophy. Well, my philosophy for riding is I want to get home safe. That's my philosophy. I think a lot of riders have different philosophies. I think a lot of them want to improve their skills, or they want to have fun, or they want to show off. They want to do one of those three things. They want to improve their skills, have fun, and show off. And I'm going to be straight up with you. If your intentions when you're riding are one of these three things, you're going to have a really, really bad time out there on a motorcycle. Because you're going out and pushing your limits in a way that's just not appropriate. Okay? So the first one, learning new things. You're going to eventually crash pushing your limits. You're going to eventually crash improving yourself. You're going to improve and improve and improve, and then you're going to hit a wall. And this wall might not be something that you're aware of. and you're going to go too fast into a corner, or you're going to trail brake too hard, or you're going to get on the throttle too early or too much, and something bad's going to happen. Okay? Or something unexpected, something out of your control is going to happen. Like a car pulling up, or a deer crossing the road, or there being like a fallen tree, or some gravel in lane position too. Something bad's going to happen, and you're going to be riding way, way above your head, and it's going to catch up to you. So guys, I can recommend, thoroughly to just, in a sense, take it easy. Okay? Who are you trying to impress? You're trying to impress, from this first one, you're trying to impress yourself by improving. The next one is going out and riding to have fun. Now that's a really, really difficult one, right? Because we all ride to have fun, don't we? I mean, I know I do. I ride because it's fun. I ride because of the fun factor. That's what gets me on the bike. That's what keeps me on the bike. So crap, man. How do you get over that? How do you... I don't know. I think what you have to do... I think what you have to do is find fun in technique. Don't find fun in speed. Don't find fun in pushing your limits. Find fun in riding perfectly. Okay? And if you can't do that, if you can't find fun in riding perfectly, man, I don't know how long your riding career is going to be. It might be a few months, it might be a year or two, but it's not going to be that long. So that's a real shame. I think that's a real, real shame. And I think a lot of us have problems with that. And I know I do sometimes because I like riding fast. And I'm not necessarily pushing my limits riding fast, but I'm riding to have fun. And that means going a little faster than I should. And I think I would be much better served, and I think a lot of you would be much better served to try to ride a little more slowly and try to perfect your technique and try to gain enjoyment from perfection. The third one is showing off. I'm not going to talk too much about that because showing off is freaking stupid. You're going to just look like an idiot if you ride to show off. I mean, you see all those people. How many times do you have to crash to learn how to do a wheelie or a rolling burnout or, whatever? Now, stunting's all well and good if you understand the risks, you have the proper motorcycle, and you're doing it in a controlled environment. But if you're out there on the streets popping mad dang 12 o'clock wheelies all over the place, well, yeah, you're not only going to hurt yourself, but you're going to hurt somebody else. I think a big misconception about motorcycles is that in motorcycle crashes, only the rider gets hurt. I have seen so many instances on YouTube and on the news and this and that. You know what I'm going to say? That's why I had to pause. I've seen all these instances where the rider does something stupid and the car they hit, the occupants of the car they hit, end up getting killed along with the rider. When you're going 110 miles an hour and you T-bone a car, you're going to kill the person you T-boned. How messed up is that? You're the asshole who just committed murder because you're too stupid to ride sensibly. Yeah, I said it. You're too stupid to ride sensibly. You're trying to show off. Whether you're showing off to yourself or someone else, you're showing off. Oh, it's a tough world out there, man. Everything that's fun is dangerous, right? It's terrible. What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to reconcile this? I don't know. I really do think what I said before, though, is true. Instead of finding fun in speed, instead of finding fun in pushing your limits, try to find fun in riding perfectly. Analyze your little tiny mistakes and improve upon them. You're gonna find that as you ride, you're constantly making little errors. And if you concentrate enough on the moment and you concentrate enough on riding correctly, you're going to find that there's always room for improvement. And those little improvements are going to make you safer, they're going to make you faster, and they're going to make you have more and more fun. So, guys, riding fast is fun. So, that's a tough one. Riding fast is fun. I think we can all say that the fear of death, is just really, it's an adrenaline rush, right? But the fact of the matter is, it's kind of like chasing the dragon. The first time you ride, the first time you really screw up and stare death in the face, you're never going to really experience that again. So you're putting yourself up against a wall, chasing a rush that you can never get more than once. Ugh, it's not good. It's not good at all. You know, I really enjoy riding, and I like seeing people have a good time out there. And I wish I could go help people, because to be honest, I don't go wide. I don't freak out when I lose traction. I don't have problems with unexpected situations, usually. Now, if I'm cruising along a boulevard or a 2-lane highway and someone turns right in front of me, yeah, I might slam into them just like anyone else would, right? But I try to keep my eyes open. And I think that's a topic for another video, is how to ride on boulevards, how to ride on 2-lane highways, how to ride in, not how to ride in traffic, because that's a different story. But what I mean is how to ride in a proactive manner when you're in a situation where someone can make a left turn in front of you in an uncontrolled intersection. Or in a controlled intersection, for that matter. What do? You know, you cover the brakes, you get ready for it. That's what I do personally. I'll just say it. When I see someone that might have the chance to turn left or right in front of me, I roll off the throttle, I cover the brakes, and I slow down a little bit, and I look, and I try to see what the car's tires are going to do. And if that guy's going to pull out on me, I'm going to, try to take defensive and evasive maneuvers as quickly and as safely as possible. But with that being said, that doesn't give me a 100% chance of not dying. Nothing does. Anyone can die on a motorcycle, no matter who you are. I mean, it is what it is. Oh man, guys. I've been drinking a lot. That you're not taking this too seriously. I hope you're not thinking that I'm trying to judge you specifically, whoever is watching this. This video is not directed at any one person or group at all. Okay? It's really directed towards myself. And it's also a test of my lens here, my beautiful lens and my beautiful camera, to see if I can, move around, move back, move forward, and still have the lens focused. Ugh. I gotta admit, everyone who watches my videos, I really enjoy knowing that, I have someone out there listening to me that's maybe thinking about their riding, maybe